What up? What up? We are here. It is Golden Spaces, an Odyssey original podcast. The Warriors win their third straight game.
Woo!
Finally, we are back streaking again. We take it how we get it. I don't care if it's the Hornets. I don't care if there's no LaMelo Ball. I don't
Yep.
care. The Warriors won a game, the third one in a row. Pretty solid performance. Like there was a little weird moments in there in the beginning, but like other than that, like once they pulled away, they kept the lead. I believe they won by almost 20. One of their better defensive stretches the whole season, right? They
Yeah.
hold the Magic, the Heat, and the Hornets all under 100 points, which is pretty remarkable, right? They do it on the road, but they just cannot do it at home for some reason. But we're just gonna hope they turn that corner once they get back at home
Right.
because clearly they're capable. And yeah, this is just a solid performance. Like, how do you feel about this game?
Yeah. I think like you said, a solid performance. And we're hoping that this kind of defensive what do you call that? Output just kind of like travels back home with them, that it's not just a road situation. I think they're gaining confidence in their selves and in their ability to be able to defend at a high level because they've gone up against, like you said, Orlando, which is a huge long team, and they were able to keep them under 100 points, and then Miami, they're just I mean, being coached by Spoelstra, he can get anything out of any player. And for them to put up that kind of defensive effort against that team as well. And then now with Charlotte, yes, Charlotte is, they're just fighting for any kind of win. But to still just continue that same progression of playing that tough defense and keeping it on a string, those are just all positive things. So that was just great. Masterful, as we could call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of this has to do with more Draymond and Trayce playing together. I think
Ooh,
their
interesting.
defensive rating or something when both of them are on the court is very, 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 very good. All right. Like you have two guys who can protect the rim. Both of them are pretty mobile on the perimeter. Draymond is obviously one of the more mobile big guys in the league defensively. And Trayce has shown some ability to stay in front of guys as well. He blocks shots, he rebounds. It's just another guy out there that does the big man things defensively. And a lot of the best defensive teams in the league have multiple guys that can do that can just protect the rim, rebound, get the ball out, all those type of things. So that's something that they need to kind of lean into, I think, going forward, even when everybody's back, right? They were missing JK, they were missing Klay today. But I
Right.
think just in general, even though it's hard for them to play them together because they're the only two centers in the rotation, right? So you can't just like give all your center minutes. You can't play them all together. You got to split them up at some point. But I think them two together is a pretty devastating defensive combo. So they kind of got to lean into that right now, especially on a team that like doesn't have a crazy amount of offensive juice on it. So they might
Yeah.
have found something on this little stretch of games right here with those two.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were actually going to say with Wiggins actually turning into 2022 Wiggins. That's what I
Mhm.
thought you would say is why the defense is probably turned up even a bit more, because he's actually turned into the person that we saw, a couple of years ago. And he's also providing that on the offensive end as well. So I think his stepping up defensively and not actually getting kind of like lost in the sauce, I thought that that's actually been one of the highlights of why we're actually playing much better defense. And maybe I'd lean towards we've got better combinations working together. So that
Mhm.
would lend itself to you saying, Trayce and Draymond kind of tag teaming
Mhm.
back there. So,
Yeah,
and Looney, look, Looney getting all the rest he can and coming in playing like Loon Dog, like we know.
yeah, he's been playing a
So,
lot better. Speaking of Wiggins, like I think this is back-to-back 20-point games. first time in a while he's had back-to-back 20-point games, I'm pretty sure, maybe like a
Yeah.
few months or something like that.
We
Yeah,
ain't
just
even got to look it up. Just, yep. Yep.
yeah. I'm looking at it right now. He only did it one other time this season. That was in January against the Lakers and then Philly, and he hasn't done it other than that. So he's been a lot more aggressive going to the basket. I mean, Steve Kerr made a
Super.
comment a few games ago about getting him going and just calling more plays for him. I think it's a little bit of both, right? They could have done a better job of getting him going, but I mean, when you got Steph and you got JK, it's it's a little bit difficult to get everybody going. Now they definitely could have called a few more plays for him, but it's also just seems like a different mentality from him to get going downhill, to take threes with confidence. Like I said, when Draymond initially came back, his defense was picking back up. All of those things was picking back up to the point where he was starting to look a little bit more like the all-star version of himself. The only thing that wasn't there yet was the three-point volume. And now he's kind of taking those threes with confidence. He's been shooting like 40-something% since Draymond came back from three. It was just a matter of him getting the attempts up. And the last few games, he's been at like 5 or 6 attempts from three each time. So he just has to continue to do that because they just need that extra spacing and juice from the three-point line from all the guys who are capable of hitting those shots, because it's going to open the floor up for everybody and it's going to keep the defenses honest, especially when it comes to like doubling Steph and all that type of stuff. So hopefully he can continue that when JK comes back. I think the last two games JK's been out. Yeah, he's been out these last two games. So like it's good that Wiggins is stepping up and scoring when JK is out and when Klay is out. But it's like we kind of need the same aggression when they're both there, when they're all there, because it makes the team that much harder to defend. And it keeps, like I said, it keeps the defense honest. So let's just hope he found something in this stretch right here. He's going to hold on to it throughout the rest of the season because they need it. And it just gives another layer to this team for sure.
Yeah. And you can see that they're all kind of just like feeding off of Wiggins' energy. Just like the game before in Orlando, it was Wiggins won them that game, with his aggression, staying aggressive in that fourth quarter. He scored like 13 points in that quarter, but that's what got them over that hump and kind of just pushed them over really to get that win. And Curry called him out for that, to say like he was really the one that got us that win. And that's just so good to see from Wiggins. But you can tell that when Wiggins is playing at that level, just it's just, you just see the team just kind of like moving in a whole new different direction, but in a very positive way. And you're just getting it's just the energy that's there. And it's just like, yo, and they're all so pumped for him. Just watching him do that. And, now he's getting into his own bag. He got the spin move down. He's doing a little Euro up loop-de-loops or whatever. Just was like, well, who is this guy?
He's so capable. I mean, athletically, he can do anything he wants out there in the court. He's always going to be one of the highest jumpers, fastest runners, most conditioned guys out there. So it's just a matter of him going out there and doing it. You see, he has more to his game than he shows on a consistent basis, like the up and unders, the post moves, and all type of stuff like that, the pull up jump shots and all that. So it's just a matter of him maintaining that confidence and that aggression, and just believing in his game, and that he can have nights like this on a night-to-night basis, because they need it and it's kind of expected. Like we've said it all season,
right?
You are the guy that's in your prime. You're in your physical prime still. So you should be producing like this on a much more consistent basis than everybody else is producing, other than like Steph, and Draymond and stuff like that. Like you should be the guy we're penciling in for 15 to 20 points efficiently nightly, right? I think he had 2 steals and a block.
Yeah, he had I think 2 blocks in the game. I felt like it was 2 blocks.
For the majority of his Warriors career and tenure, he's been a block and a steal per game guy. Like he's going to give you at least 1 of each per game. This season is somewhere like 0.5 blocks and like 0.7 steals or something like that per game. It's just way lower than his volume that he's been at. It's like you should be doing that every single night. Rebounds, 6-7 rebounds a night sleepwalk into it. So hopefully he can maintain that because I mean tonight he had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8
8.
assists actually.
Okay, highlight them 8 assists because what he was
Yeah.
finding at like I was just like, look at the passing.
It's
He
probably his
and
most
he,
complete game all season.
yeah, making quick decisions, not hesitating, just going right at it. Like, are you taking this matchup here or you're not? Keep it
Yeah.
moving. And that he was making those quick decisions. And it was just like, okay, Wiggs play making out here, shooting that pass to Gary. It was just like, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Miles on a nice back cut too. I mean,
Yep.
he was kind of doing it all. And this is the Andrew Wiggins that they have needed all
Yeah.
season. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, there is a path to this team like really finding its stride at the right time, right? Like Trayce has kind of
Mhm.
settled in. We'll get into Trayce, but like Trayce has settled into a major role. Um, Steve Kerr has kind of backed off the pods thing. Like he was leaning a little bit too
Mhm.
heavy into it. So pods is more in an appropriate minute total and role now. Klay has settled into his role, whether it's off the bench or starting. It seems like he's just much more in a better headspace.
Mhm.
And JK is obviously like fully ingrained into his role as well. So like if all of those guys, Steph, Dre, Klay, Wiggins, Trayce, Kuminga, even CP3,
Wait.
kind of all settle into their roles and excel in their roles, then the ceiling of this team is still pretty high, right? They're just behind the 8 ball right now based on the season that they've had, but it's
Right.
never been like a question of like the best version of them and their talent, right? It's always like, okay, they're just playing a little bit too close to the worst version of them too often.
Right. Right.
The best version of them is still pretty hard to beat. Like, so if there's a way that they can channel that, all of those guys channel that and bring that forth on a consistent basis going forward, I don't think it's a lot of teams that want to play them. Like, they just have a lot of ways
Right.
that they can hurt you when those guys are all firing on all cylinders.
Exactly. And with Moses Moody finding his shot, thankfully, yay. But also his defense along with GP2's, like you already are seeing that mix and just having everyone like put forth that 100% on defense on a nightly basis. And they did these in the back to back and then coming here to Charlotte, just it was just so good to see. Like you said, they
Yep.
stuttered a little bit early on, but they had always been locked in on defense. So, I mean, like you said, I think they're hitting their stride at a good time. Yes, we would have liked to seen it earlier. However, this is still good because this is building much better habits going forward. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta keep leaning in on that defense. Like we said, 97 points to the Hornets tonight. A lot of the end of the fourth quarter was garbage time. So just hold on to that. Like if nothing is going to sustain you, the defense will. Like this is a time in the league where everybody's scoring a ton of points. So it's kind of
mhm.
hard to be this good defensively consistently, but you just got to try because all these teams got a little bit more offense, I think, on their teams. But yeah, just keep holding teams under 100 and you're good.
Yeah, and I think we're at the top in defensive rating for this like span. I think we're number 1 in the NBA because I think we're at 100 or something like that. I
Could
read, but also we should mention that we finally got a win in Charlotte. We broke the losing streak of I think 4 straight games, but then we also broke it in Orlando where we couldn't get a win and we finally got a win. And I think that was 5 times we lost in Orlando. So look at us
look
just
at
breaking it all up and getting wins in the meantime.
that. Who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, the Warriors over the last 5, let's go the last 8 games. Okay, let's go the last 5 games because there was a few losses in those 8 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're third in defense in that
Oh,
span.
okay.
106.6 over the last 3 games, not including this game. I don't think they are second at 100. points per 100 possessions
Okay.
allowed. So yeah, they've been defending at a truly elite level. If they can sustain that, obviously these teams that they played aren't like the greatest offensive teams, but you just got to carry that mentality to whoever you're playing. And if you
Yeah,
can't lock
because
your teams up, you can't lock nobody up. So you better lock these
look,
teams up.
exactly, but also we are the recipients of players just going off, hitting season highs against us. So
Yeah.
defense has to matter. So it doesn't matter who we're playing. If we can lock in on defense, we're gonna have a really good chance of winning the game. And we did one of them without Draymond in the game. So look at that.
Right. So Trayce Jackson-Davis is hooping.
He is.
He's hooping. He had 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 1 assist. He was a plus 11 in 31 minutes. I retweeted something on the timeline not too long ago that had his stats as a starter. And I'll just pull those
Mm.
up real quick. As a starter this season, he's averaging 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks a game, shooting 71% from the field.
Wow.
Ready out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a very specific role on this team, considering how the Warriors play is pretty much like screen, off ball screens and doing all
Mhm.
the stuff to get the splash bros open. And then if the two people go with the splash bros, you just dive in and dunk on offense. Like it's that simple. Run a handoff. Occasionally he'll run like a ghost handoff like Draymond does and not actually
Mhm.
give it to the guy, but he's making the reads out of it. He did one fake handoff and then hit, I forgot, I think Moses in the corner or something for,
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
think
he got it,
so.
but like it was just one of those like quick decision passes. It's like he can make those reads consistently. He can finish with the best of them. He got highlight dunks every game pretty much.
He
And then
does.
on defensive end, he's moving his feet, he's rebounding, he's blocking shots. So it's really nothing else that he could be doing better at this point.
And he can bring the ball up. Look at that. Mm.
He got
So he
some
did that
skills to him. Like,
he did that in this game.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, shout out to Trayce. He's like showing his whole entire repertoire of his game right now. It's hard to think like what his ultimate trajectory is, considering he is a older rookie,
Right,
but it doesn't
right.
mean he can't improve. Like if he starts getting just as good with his right hand as he is with his left hand, that's pretty scary because he's doing all this with really with one hand. Like he
Yeah.
shot one right-handed layup this game. Other than that, 95% of what he shoots is left-handed. If we get to right, it's that's just another layer to his game. So the sky's kind of the limit for him. Um, and hopefully, like he can just keep his spot. Like he was doing this earlier in the season, and then Draymond came back, and Steve Kerr was still kind of doing the Loon and Dario
Mhm.
thing, and Trayce got kind of pushed out of the rotation a little bit, but now he's back in the rotation. It seems like he's not going to let that spot go
Yeah,
again.
I think he's solidified in the rotation now for real. And you can just see each game, just his not his enthusiasm, but just how his confidence. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. His confidence level is just going up and up each game. Like this game, you could just see it on his face. He just like knew what he wanted to do and he was going after it. And it's just really great to see. But like he always says, he watches a lot of film. And so that's where he's also growing in that aspect, making sure he's looking at the scouting report of who he might be going up against and just being prepared. And he's got Looney in his ear and helping him out all through this, which is really, really great.
Yeah, I mean, like if there's guys who can teach you the tricks of the trade, it's Draymond, it's Looney, it's Chris Paul, like guys
Mhm.
who have been historically like undersized for their position, who know like how to do the ins and outs of like playing NBA defense and doing the veteran things. So I think him using his tools and the nuggets that
Mhm.
they're giving him is just going to take his game to another level. You're already seeing it pay dividends now, and he also had an NBA coach in college, so like
Yeah.
it's really no surprise that he's doing some of the things that he's doing, but it's still remarkable. Like he's just going out there dunking everything, blocking everything. He has great timing, great hands. So
Yeah.
I mean, Mike has been getting a lot of stuff for some of the decisions that he's made in terms of roster building. But what we cannot deny is that he made 2 great picks
Yep.
within the draft. And without those 2 picks, I don't know where this team. If he would have missed on those 2 picks, I don't know where this team would be.
Man, look.
Honestly, because Pods and Trayce both have contributed so much to this team this season.
Yep.
Even with a 38-34 record, it ain't been because of them two. Like,
right. They've actually kept us in games, won us games just
exactly
with their energy. So
exactly. Both of them were a plus 11 tonight. 26 minutes from Pods, 31 minutes from Trayce. 2 rookies off the bat, contributing at a high level to a team that is trying to keep its play in and postseason hopes alive. So that's been huge. That has been huge. We didn't talk about Steph, but Steph had another just normal I'm Steph, you can't do anything with me kind of game. 23 points.
Yeah, below his standards, really.
Right.
Because he really didn't shoot it that well, but he was going into the lane and getting floaters and really taking on the challenge. But still, it's like, yet he still comes out with being the top scorer.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, like, he was just kind of sleepwalking the whole game and chilling. They're probably not going to rest him at any point soon. Well, we don't know that, but they probably won't. But he probably
they can't afford to. So
yeah, Rockets are on their tail now, so they can't afford to drop any games. And the Lakers just lost, so there's always a chance that they can somehow take the Lakers spot or swap spots with the Lakers at some point too. So I think he's going to go for it. And it's great that guys like Wiggins and Trayce are stepping up because it just lessens his load on a night-to-night basis, so he can kind of get that built-in rest in the game where he doesn't have to play so many minutes and go off every game.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's what we saw in this game as well. Kind of just like, hey, we can manage these minutes a bit because we have X, Y, and Z. They're going off and everything. So that's good.
Yep. Off the bench production and a team high plus 14, Mr. Moses Moody. 15 points. Look at Moses. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Filled the stat sheet up. Like he made a few little mistakes here and there as far as turnovers, but he's still going to produce, right? He had a 4-point play out there. He's finishing at the rim over guys. He's defending. He made Miles Bridges pass out of shots a few times. He's just really good defender, really sound player, just understands where to be on both ends pretty much 99% of the time. And I think it's
grabbing
a lot of
rebounds.
Grabbing rebounds like he always does, crashing. Right. He had 2 offensive rebounds. Oh, no, he had 2 offensive rebounds. He just plays with so much energy. And it doesn't really look like it because the way he moves is very smooth. It's not like very super explosive. So it doesn't look like he's like one of those guys like Gary. When Gary moves, you see it because he's so explosive with his movements. But Moses, like, just kind of lanky and smooth. But he's going out there and he's fighting and he's grinding just as much as anybody else out there. He's playing so hard. So shout out to Stay Ready, Mr. Moses Moody. Hopefully he can stay in the rotation. Like, that's just another thing.
I mean, yeah, hopefully, because with JK being out and then with Draymond getting ejected early on, Moses was inserted rather quickly the other night. So and then with Klay being out plus JK being out, then Moses elevates even more now. But I think just with his showing, there can't be any more like reservations in playing him moving forward. He's got a shot. They need the scoring. It's not like, oh, we're fine with scoring. No. We need that scoring. So just hoping against the Spurs next up, we'll still see more Moses.
Yeah, I mean, like, people were talking about how he couldn't hit a 3 for a little bit of time, which is definitely significant considering he's one of the spacers on the team, so he has to be able to knock those shots down. But he's still scoring without hitting the threes, which
Right.
shows that he can actually get to the basket and finish, which a lot of guys on his team cannot do.
Okay.
If you were unaware, the Warriors, I think, shoot the least amount of rim attempts in the league, and they have like so many players who rank in like bottom tier as far as rim finishing is concerned in terms of percentage and difficulty and stuff like that. So like they need guys who can make layups and finish at the rim. That's why Trayce pops off the page so much, because he makes everything at the rim. Moses
Yeah.
is a guy who don't make everything at the rim, but he makes enough for him to be able to consistently put up points even when his jump shot is not falling. So
Right.
he's doing that. He's playing defense. He's lanky. He gives your perimeter more size, which is what they have needed all season. So Steve got to find a way. I know he's not going to, but he needs to find a way.
Well, I mean, let's hope. Let's hope. I mean, Moses has been knocking down the door, and I have to say, maybe just with the load that Curry's been carrying, and with what we saw the other night, with just his frustration level, like through the roof at that point, maybe he's a bit more vocal and is just like, you got to get Moses in there. Like,
Yeah,
he can't, there should be no more DMPs and just 2 minutes in a game. Like, we need him. We need him. He's showing up each time. He's taking on defenders. Like, what are we doing here?
exactly. I mean, like we've seen him lock up how many star players at this point
Right?
in the season? That stuff is valuable. That stuff is valuable. Like to take on Dame, to take on Brunson, to take on De'Aaron Fox, to take on all of these guys, Paul George. Like we've seen him lock up, like legitimately play great defense on star players multiple times this season. So he shows that he's a player. Like I don't know what else they need to see. So yeah. Let's focus a little bit on Mr. Draymond Green, who toed the line again tonight. He was this close to kicking Grant Williams in the nuts.
He sure was.
I think Grant Williams was being a little corny right there, but
yeah, but again, Grant Williams knows if I just tap him, he's gonna lose it.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, you know, the word out on the street is all you got to do is just bump him a little. He's gonna lose it because he doesn't have it all together. He's looking to like pop off. It's just like, you already know they're gonna be going after you, Draymond. Like, dude, did you not even learn from the previous game, which we haven't even discussed?
Yeah.
Just the silliness and foolishness in that ejection that didn't need to happen, yet he made it happen because homie didn't even want to play. That's what I believe. He didn't want to play that game because he just knew he was looking like he was getting cooked anyway, and he wanted no parts of it. So being selfish. And then today you decide you really want to do this literally after not even playing the last game. This is what you want to do. And it was just like, okay, he held it together, but he was still close.
Right.
He was close. Too close.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that. Like that suspension, that ejection was just ridiculous. Like what, 2 minutes into the game?
Yeah, well, at the 8-minute mark or something like that.
Yeah, like 4 minutes or something like that into the game. Just ridiculous. Do you think they can trust him going forward? Like, do you think they can say, like, yeah, we are for sure okay with Draymond being here and playing this big of a role because we know he's not going to screw us over in the future?
No, I don't think that they can trust him. They can trust him as far as they can throw him, which is right in front of them. And they are on, I think, pins and needles watching as fans are. Like, oh, like each time they're all like, okay, please, no, don't, just calm down. Because you saw them out there in the other game kind of just been like, all right, we tapping you, like, okay, that's enough. Let's walk away. Like, chill, money grip, You're good. Like, you got that out. You got the tech. Now it's time to move on. And then don't try to be slick like you didn't think he was going to hear you when you stayed facing him. You didn't turn and try to mumble something, because as soon as you said it, you walked straight. You didn't even go sit down like, oh no, I'm not going to get a tech because he ain't see me. Homie was already walking to the bench just straight out because he knew he was heard, because he wanted to be heard.
Right.
And he didn't want to play that game. Because after I watched it again, I was like, you know what? You did this on purpose.
Seemed calculated. Yeah.
You did this on purpose. And the game hadn't even, you didn't even work up a sweat yet. So once again, the selfishness. And no, I don't think that they can trust him. I think they are going game by game, just like we are, following along, like, just please. Because again, like Kerr said, he's a grown man. That's on him. Like, we can't just be like cleaning up after him. We got our own kids.
You're right.
This is a grown person.
He got
right?
his own too.
Right.
It's funny, he was at the podium like a few games ago, and I think his son or his daughter came up to him and was like,
his daughter.
Yeah, she's like, his son, like he hit me or something like that.
Yeah. And he was like, because she pushed me first. So
yeah. I'm like, why would they post this? This is crazy.
No, but it was so cute.
It was cute, but it was very ironic that they were talking about fighting each other, and he was like, oh, just say sorry. Like, it's like, it seemed like he's very compassionate and like,
so compassionate,
so stable when it comes to that, but very unstable when it comes to his own actions and stuff like that. And just like, come on, brother. Like, what you're supposed to be doing here. You just choosing to do the other thing.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think they can trust him. I think they have no choice but to try.
Right.
But,
which is why I think they are handling it with kid gloves, just kind of just like, listen, you deserved that ejection. You knew you was wrong, but it's just like, we don't want to hear any of the apologies. I'm sure that that's like what's happening behind the scenes. Like, we don't want to hear it, because look, we're in this position, number one, because of you too. Like, you number one on that list, but again, where we're at in the standings, we need everybody. Like, you're not out because of injury, which we would be like, hey, he's injured, so okay, we do what we got to do. No, but it's by your own doing that you are putting us in this position. And now you're putting it more on Curry to lift even a larger load because of your foolishness and selfishness. So,
yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. Like, got to be better. You're putting too much unnecessary stress on the team.
On the team,
The team is already like dealing with its own things, basketball, just strictly basketball things. Like, we could talk about like the lack of a center outside of him and Trayce. Like, theoretically, I mean, like, ideally, he shouldn't be playing center other than like the end of games where they really need to win, right? When they put their death lineup out there. But they can't afford to do that because they don't have any other reliable centers but him and Trayce. So he got to play center a lot more often than he should be asked to do at this point in his career. That's just one of the long list of basketball things that they need to improve with this team. And then you just add extra stuff on top of it by just not being present or ruining the games that you are already present for by getting ejected, getting technicals, giving the other team free points because they're taking technical foul free throws. Yeah, like I said, they have no choice because they have no other ways to replace his value or even supplement his value. But it's just something that the Warriors organization has just dealt with for so long that it's just tiring at this point to deal with continuously.
Yeah.
So it is what it is with Mr. Draymond Green. Hopefully he can get that together. But just not hopeful or not expecting it.
Right. It will be a pleasant surprise if he keeps
Right.
it together the rest of this season. I
Yeah.
mean, but again, first infraction really since coming back from the suspension. So I guess we can look at that as okay, a good, because we didn't think, right, that he would be clean the rest of the way. Like
Right.
that would just be crazy to even think that he could go without some type of hiccup
Right.
happening. So it happened after what, 3 months in? Okay. All right. That's your one. You got your one. And now moving forward, we shouldn't see it again.
Right.
Providing we're in the playoffs, we shouldn't see it again.
Exactly. I
'Cause
don't even know how many texts he has. Like, I mean, does it reset in the playoffs? I'm not really sure, but yeah, just let's
yeah,
let's
I
not see
think,
it again.
or maybe it doesn't. Who's to say?
Who's to say? Either way, don't get no more.
Right. Okay.
um. Okay. Let's take a look at the standings. Unless you have anything else from the game.
No, just great win.
Great
Happy
win.
happy to string together back to back wins and
Yep.
Wiggins along for the ride.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Um. So it is looking like okay. So they got 31 losses to the. I'm talking about the Suns, but it's looking
Okay.
like the Warriors are one game behind the Lakers in terms of losses, and one game ahead of the Rockets in terms of losses. The Rockets are currently down 2 points to the Jazz. We will see if they come back or if they ultimately win this game, but hopefully they do. So we will have two less losses than them. So pretty much most of the same, right? They're really close to the Lakers, also really close to the Rockets. So just keep winning. So you can just end up
Yeah.
ninth, and the other two can end up fighting for that 10th and 11th spot. And yeah, the Suns just lost to the Thunder. Maybe they start losing and you can take one of them up. You never know. But the name of the game is to just keep winning as many games as you possibly
Right.
can, because you never know what team can start sliding, who can get hurt, whatever the case may be for these other teams. And you might end up higher than you expected. So just keep winning. You got one of the easier schedules in the league. I believe they have San Antonio next on the 31st, if I'm not
Uh,
mistaken.
we do have on
That Monday?
wait, when is
No,
Easter? Because I
no,
heard
that's
them say
Sunday. It's Easter. Yeah, they play this. They play the
the
Spurs on.
Spurs, yeah,
Yeah,
who just beat the Knicks.
yeah, with Brunson going crazy too. The Spurs are on an easy win. I mean, like Wembanyama is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if he played. He did play, and he had 40 points and 20 rebounds. So he's a monster. He's a monster.
And he's probably gonna be looking for his get back on Trayce, but Trayce, I
Yeah.
think, playing even more, he's gonna be ready. He's gonna be ready.
Um,
And he's like, hey, if he dunks on me, he's dunks on me. But again, he's
yeah,
gonna be ready.
he gonna be ready. 40 and 20 and 7 assists for Wemby that game.
Yowzers.
Jalen Brunson had 61 points.
Wait, what? Excuse me?
The NBA is just ridiculously
Did
stacked.
you say 61 points?
He had 61 points. Um, he took 47 shots, got 61. That's ridiculous. 47 shots is crazy.
I'm just like, 40. Has
And he
has
was efficient.
Curry ever taken
No, no way.
that? That just seems insane.
He would have 100. No way. With the amount of threes he takes, if he took 47 shots, he would have 100 points. Uh,
Oh, shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Greg said that's literally one shot per minute.
What?
He had 6 free throws too, so it's probably more than one shot per minute. This is
Oh my
shortly
gosh.
after DeJounte Murray took 44 shots to get 40-something points the other night. The league is crazy. The league is crazy. But yeah, let's just keep it going. Keep winning. Keep winning.
Yeah. Just keep winning. Just keep
Keep winning.
winning.
Keep winning. Keep following us on our socials. Keep interacting with us. Keep watching our videos. 95.7 The Game's YouTube channel under Golden Spaces podcast. Keep listening to us wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Share, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, all of that good stuff. And yeah, we will see you guys after the Spurs game on Sunday, talking about hopefully another win, despite Wembanyama's efforts. Hopefully we can shut him down and get a W.
Exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, we will see you guys after that, and have a good one.
Peace.